Hey there, cyber business pros. Welcome to the 10-Minute Cyber Pulse. I'm going to break down this week's biggest cybersecurity market stories in 10 minutes or less. No fluff, just facts. If you work in cybersecurity, on a go-to-market team, in leadership, or in operations, you need to know these trends. All links to the articles I talk about are in the description below. Let's jump right in. First up, let's look at recent deals in the cybersecurity market. Cybereason has just raised $120 million to grow its business. The funding was led by SoftBank, who has been backing them for years. Cybereason makes endpoint detection response software, also known as EDR. That means they help companies spot and stop attacks on laptops, servers, and other devices. This new funding will help them build more advanced tools and keep up with growing threats, including attacks backed by nation states. It also gives them a fresh push after going through some tough times, including layoffs. This raise shows that investors still believe endpoint security is critical, and Cybereason wants to stay a top player in that space. Pentera also brought in $60 million in funding this week. They're now valued at over $1 billion. Pentera's platform simulates cyber attacks, so security teams can test how well their defenses hold up without waiting for a real attack to happen. It's like running a fire drill, but for your network. The new funding came from K1 Investment Manager, and Pentera says they'll use it to grow their team, improve their product, and expand into more markets. They already have more than 800 customers worldwide, and this raise puts them firmly in the growing group of cybersecurity unicorns. And now, for the acquisition everyone's buzzing about, Google is buying Wiz for $32 billion. Wiz, founded in 2020, quickly became a leader in cloud security, offering agentless solutions for major cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. Google has announced that Wiz will continue to operate as a multi-cloud platform, maintaining its compatibility with AWS, Azure, Oracle Cloud, and others. This means that Wiz's services will remain available to customers regardless of their cloud provider. However, some industry analysts are questioning how this acquisition might affect Wiz's neutrality. There's speculation about whether Wiz will continue to support AWS only or Azure only customers without bias, or if their services will become more tailored to Google Cloud users, especially those operating in multi-cloud environments. The deal is expected to close later this year, pending regulatory approval. We'll keep an eye on how this acquisition unfolds and what it means for the broader cloud security landscape. That's our deal roundup. Now let's talk about RSA. We all know RSA 2025 is coming up. It's one of the biggest cybersecurity events of the year. But without a plan, you'll waste time, money, and miss out on great opportunities. So here's what smart vendors should do, and what they should avoid at RSAC this year. First, pick a clear goal. Are you there for leads, investors, or partners? Decide now, because once you're there, it's crazy busy. If you have multiple goals, assign different people to each one. Book your meetings early. Time and space are limited. On the floor, focus on people who booked your demos ahead of time. They've already shown interest. People just walking by might only want your free stuff. It hurts to hear, but it's true. The best connections happen away from the main floor. Think casual settings like parties, happy hours, and meetups. Try to host a side event or two for better networking. Now, what should you avoid? Don't give long history lessons. Get to the point. What problem do you solve? Practice your elevator pitch before the event. Even your marketing team needs to know this cold. Also, cheap swag is a waste. Nobody needs another stress ball or pen. If you're giving something away, make it worth keeping or it will end up in the trash. And finally, don't disappear after RSA. Follow up quickly while your talks are still fresh in people's minds. Check out the full RSA strategy guide on the Bootstrap Cyber blog. Link is below. Next up, the U.S. has stopped offensive cyber operations against Russia. While international and U.S. news outlets have covered this story widely, major right-leaning news sites haven't reported on it yet. But it is a big shift in U.S. cyber policy, so here's what we know. The AP reports that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has paused cyber attacks against Russia by U.S. Cyber Command. This pause doesn't affect cyber activities by other agencies like the CIA or CISA. Critics, including Republican lawmakers and security experts, say this move could make the U.S. more open to Russian cyber threats. They point out that Russia has attacked the U.S. infrastructure, government agencies, and elections before. They worry that stopping our cyber attacks removes an important deterrent. This pause raises questions about U.S. cyber strategy going forward. Is defense alone enough to stop nation-state threats? This change is part of broader shifts at the Pentagon under Secretary Hegseth, who President Trump nominated. Many saw his appointment as Trump wanting loyal people in key defense roles. Some officials worry about Hegseth's limited experience in top government jobs. This decision fits with other big changes in Trump's national security approach. These include disbanding teams that counter foreign influence and unfreezing Russian oligarch assets. These moves have sparked debate about how the U.S. will handle cyber threats in the future. Next, cybersecurity startup Harmony Intelligence from Sydney has raised $3 million to grow its AI-powered vulnerability detection platform. According to The Australian, founders Suresh Poor and Alex Brown build software that constantly scans networks for security flaws. Instead of waiting for scheduled security tests, Harmony's system runs 24/7. It finds weaknesses before attackers do. The platform spots misconfigurations, weak passwords, and known vulnerabilities in real time. It gives security teams instant insights to fix issues before they turn into breaches. Security experts say this shift from periodic testing to continuous monitoring is becoming essential as attacks get more advanced. With this funding, Harmony plans to expand and enter enterprise markets in the U.S. and Europe. Next, New York lawmakers have proposed a rule that would make local governments report all cyber incidents to state authorities. Right now, according to Times Union, reporting is voluntary. Officials say this has led to delayed responses and missing data on attacks. The new bill would change that. It would require cities, counties, and towns to notify the state cybersecurity team whenever they're attacked. Supporters say better coordination means faster response to threats. It also helps state officials track attack patterns and improve defenses across the state. Critics worry that smaller local governments might struggle with cost. Many don't have the staff or resources to handle frequent reporting. With ransomware attacks on the rise, lawmakers say centralized reporting could help prevent future incidents and improve response times. Healthcare security is getting a major update. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is making big changes to HIPAA's security rules, and if you work in cybersecurity, especially in healthcare, you'll want to keep an eye on this. According to Reuters, the new HIPAA security rule proposal aims to better protect electronic health data, reduce breaches, and modernize outdated requirements. Here are some of the key changes. Annual security risk assessments will be required for all providers and vendors handling patient data. Vendor oversight is tightening. Third-party providers will need to meet tougher security standards. Multi-factor authentication will be mandatory for any system that accesses ePHI. Organizations must track every system and app that touches patient data, cutting down on hidden risks. Encryption standards are getting stronger to protect data and storage in transit. The public comment period ended March 7th, with more than 4,000 responses. Many focused on the cost and complexity of compliance. For cybersecurity vendors, this could create new demand for compliance tools, identity solutions, and risk assessment products. Healthcare orgs will need to act fast to get ready. Stay tuned as HHS finalizes the rule and help your customers prepare. And that's a wrap for this week's 10-Minute Cyber Pulse. Hit like and subscribe and tell me in the comments which story caught your attention the most. If you want to stay ahead of cybersecurity business trends, join our community at bootstrapcyber.com and connect with cyber business pros just like yourself. Now, it's time to get back to business. See you next week. Until then, keep hacking your success.